Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, wherever you are in the world. This is Dr. Jacqueline King, and I am the CEO of Black Women Empowered. And as I say always, we bring amazing people to you doing amazing things. So tonight, I have this power couple, my friends. I call them my little sister, my little brother, uh, uh, Dr. Gary Carroll and Dr. Melanie Macklin. How y'all doing?
We are awesome, and I appreciate you. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored.
There you go.
Just glad to be alive, with everything
Mhm.
going on. We have to be thankful for every day because, the days are not promised and
Mhm.
people are still dying from COVID, whether they talk about it or not. So anyway, I'm really good. I'm glad to have you two here because we've been talking about doing some couples things anyway. Just to get the conversation going on what it takes to be a successful couple and a successful
Mhm.
couple that is raising children and running businesses and doing so much of everything. That's who you are. You
Yeah.
both are. So who wants to start telling like how it all began?
I'm gonna let my queen start because here's the deal. Really, real talk. If I start, she's gonna dive in anyway and correct me. So I'm gonna let her go ahead and set the tone and let all the background, and I'll jump in, when I need to.
Well, come on, Queen.
No, no, Jackie, as always, thank you for having us on. We were just on not too long ago. And then you brought up the idea of bringing on my King Dimples, Dr. Gary Carroll. So, I appreciate that because we do have a story. You know what I mean? We met at Howard University in 1986. We came out of Howard University in 1990. And then I went on to med school. He went on to do his master's of environmental engineering at Johns Hopkins, and then his PhD in environmental engineering at George Washington. And we honestly got together. What was that? My junior year med school, Howard Med, and we've been together ever since. 32 years as best friends, and then 25 years married as of April of this year, April 22nd, 2025. And we have
Happy
like
anniversary.
yes, yeah. So we've come a long way. We've done a lot of things together. We are, we work together in the same home office, or wherever around the house that we want to be at any given time, or out back, or whatever. But it's been a blessing. It really has, and we cherish our relationship. We cherish how we raise our daughters. We have an oldest, Cayla, that finished up Howard undergraduate last May of 2024. She's gone on to get her master's of esthetician career going. And then our youngest daughter, Celina, is a junior at Howard,
Wow.
living her best life, rocking the yard like her mama did back in the day. So, we're blessed, Jackie. I can't complain, and I can honestly say, and I'm gonna say this without him blushing, but I'm spoiled. I don't have to
Nothing
raise
wrong with that.
right.
You don't see me correcting her, right? Go ahead.
I'm all with it.
I mean, even though I know how to cook and do all those things, we both were raised in like the Southern environment and so forth. But that Gary enjoys being the chef to our family. He enjoys, like, if we say, look, we need a one pencil, he's running to the store to go get the one pencil, whether or not it's for me or the girls. And so that's a blessing because that doesn't happen that often. So he's not one to be like, okay, I'll see you. And by the time he gets home, I'm asleep and he's still out. No, no, no. That doesn't even exist. And I don't even know what that means. But, there's a lot of families that are like that, and so we're blessed to be able to have him around. And that's not to say he can't go out. I'm not like choking him by the neck, be like, you can't leave. But I'm just saying it's because it's what he wants to do. It's how his mother raised him to be a family man. And so we're blessed with that. So I'm excited. We do our family life together, but we also do lots of business together, which is because, I mean, honestly, he's been my manager for my Dr. Macklin brand, Dr. Mac brand, since I started in '99. So I have my own in-house manager, Dimples, whenever I want.
Well, she pretty much.
Everybody loves Gary's dimples.
But no, I think she covered it well. But I will say this, as an only child, my mother actually did teach me. She prepared me. I remember she always told me, she said, when she looked at me when I was little, she said, one day, he's going to be a man. He's going to be a husband. He's going to be a father. He's going to be a best friend, and so on and so forth. So, for me, there's no such thing as perfection, but I can tell you that, Melanie and our relationship began, quite frankly, on the basis of just strength in terms of friendship. Obviously there was attractiveness there. Let's not, let's not play any games. All right. Let me look at her. Why wouldn't you want to? But the reality is,
check me out walking the yard, Jackie. Don't.
Yeah, I saw her walking the yard at HU. Yeah. Like I said, like she said, we knew each other in 86. Our circles were really close. So, it wasn't like it wasn't like in 93, we just, hey, how are you? No, we knew each other. But the good Lord had a plan. And basically, we sort of just grew up together in a lot of ways from a professional perspective. As an only child, like I said, I always knew. And by the way, let me just say this: when she and I started dating, I was working as well. So I was working for some environmental consulting companies. I was trying to figure out sort of what lane. I was thinking about law school, and that necessarily didn't pan out. Or kind of the pivot, if you will, and the aha moment of, is that really what I want to do? And then I end up doing my master's. But my point is, as I was still working and going to school, she was doing her studies, obviously, and finishing her residency and finishing her internal medicine, finishing med school. So we went through that together, and we got to know each other way beyond just what we thought we did over those 7 years before I actually proposed. And it wasn't a surprise. We always knew when we wanted to, but the reality is we knew also that we had a plan, and we were disciplined enough, committed enough, had faith over us, but also had the action to implement that plan. And so I think what you see before you right now has a lot to do with the implementation of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said something just now. You had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of couples just get married. What can you say as to why you need a plan?
Yeah. I can speak. Like I said, I'm the only child, but my parents got married. I think they were 21, 22. No, it wasn't a shotgun wedding. Even though I'm from Jersey, born and raised, I grew up. A lot of my summers was in North Carolina, and
I'm Jersey and North Carolina too.
There you go then. So you already know. But my parents got, they went to North Carolina Central. They went to high school together, sweethearts, and they got married at 21, 22. Again, my mother also taught me what they did right, but she also taught me what to learn from. And so we were in no rush. So we figured, we had a plan for ourselves. It just so happened that plan had synergy with each other. So it began with your own plan. I tell my daughters all the time, of course, I would love for them to meet someone that they can grow and have a family with, but it has to start with self. So my plan and Melanie's plan, it just had cohesion. And so then we just started developing in it, and it started growing, and it just started merging in to being one plan, even though it came with two plans, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what are some of the challenges that you faced as early on? Because I know they say if you can make it past 10 years, you're good. That's what they say. I never made it, so I don't know.
If I could take this, Mel, I think for me, from the man perspective, right? There's challenges in terms of time, but because I was very busy, she was very busy. You think about it, med school, residency. That for those of you that don't know that type of schedule, it's intense. It's very, very intense. But the other side of that coin was, as I just mentioned to you, what I was going through academically as well as working, it was also intense. So we supported each other. So I couldn't say it was any major challenges from that perspective. Once we got married, and we decided, when we were going to have children, we were blessed with that as well as working out. But we were prepared. We were prepared financially. We were prepared emotionally, spiritually. So we were prepared to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say that no, there are never any hiccups. That's just not a reality. But our speed bumps, if you will, weren't really, slow down elements in relationships. I always believed this too. And I used to say this to her, and because I was taught this, whatever you did to get me, whatever I did to get her, we need to continue doing that to keep it. And so it was never a threat, because I told you, see what I said, whatever I did to get her, right? Whatever I did, I need to continue and raise the bar, because you're going to grow as an individual. The question is, are you going to grow together? And let me just close this loop and bring it to full circle right now, Jackie, because so many people ask Mel and I all the time. I mean, trust me, we've been together where some of our friends been married twice. Okay. So people ask us all the time, what's the secret? What's the secret? And I said, well, it's not necessarily a secret per se. It's just that the support that we have, it begins with best friends. And we just, now I sit back and we'll have our daughters, we call them, so we're an empty nester, right? Well, our daughters, they live together. We're blessed with that. But a lot of people now that are our age, their kids are going off to college right now. Some of their kids are already graduated. And because of the lifestyle, maybe because of the relationship they've had over those years, where everything is to focus on the children, because our focus was just like that as well. But they now have to reintroduce themselves to each other. They have to, have to say, hey, how are you? My name is such and such, because, life start lifing, right? And you look up and you have 5 years and 10 years. And if all you ever did was focus just on your children and not yourselves, well, when that empty nest occurs, I know a lot of people right now are trying to pivot and figure out, who are you? And we're blessed to not have to ask that question, who are you?
Yeah, that you guys seem like you have the perfect recipe for relationships. So how long before you had your girls?
I was going to say, if I can hop in really quickly, because I salute families out there that have the support of their parents or close families and friends and godmothers and whoever. We were blessed with that, Jackie. That's all part of our formula of success. Because when I started my company in September of '99, I was hit hard with being the medical director of Hype Hair, and all of these folks wanted me all over the place in the media and so forth. But I didn't get pregnant until 2001 and had Cayla in June of 2002. Well, here, when you talked about the challenges, okay, so here at this time, I'm starting really my real prime of being pushed and tugged, pulled into, I need you here, I need you there, I need you up in New York, I need you to do this, whatever. And of course, my priority is my family, is my new baby girl, you understand? But I had the wonderful support of my mother-in-law. I don't want to call her my mother-in-law. She was my mother. From day one, she was like, okay, you're going to be my daughter, not my daughter-in-law. And it was a beautiful thing. And then I also had my godmother, Miss Rose, that was based up in Chicago, who's known me since I was 3 years old. She would literally fly back and forth every 2 weeks, spend 2 weeks with me here, go back to Chicago, rest up for a week, come back for 2 weeks. And we did that back and forth. If we did not have, because Gary was traveling with me, he wasn't going to let me just be out there by myself in this New York world or California world or wherever we were going. And so that was a blessing. That's what helped us tremendously. So we got through that challenge, but baby girl was fine and we were fine. And the same thing happened with our Celina that came along. But by that time, Cayla was able to go to my mother-in-law's home because she had an in-home preschool kindergarten, which was a blessing. So yeah, we just had the challenges of trying to get our schedules right and still keep our business flowing, still keep growing our brands and all of that kind of good stuff. And quite frankly, that actually helped to even grow me and Gary's relationship from a business perspective, because he was Johnny on the spot with me whether or not I was up in New York for a Steve radio show or out in California on a set for somewhere, he was right there with me. So we persevered some things, but it was a lot about scheduling and, more importantly, making sure that our girls were, greatly taken care of, and we were blessed with that. So I guess if that's a challenge, that was a challenge, but we had a great support system. So I salute all people out there that have families, because it's nothing like it. You can't do this by yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so, Gary, I have to ask you, did you want a boy?
Oh wow, that's such a good question, and here's the reality. It's not that I didn't want a boy. I just knew I wasn't gonna have a boy. And I'm just gonna be real with you. And see, Melanie's laughing because I told her when we were dating, I said, if we have 10 kids, it's gonna be 10 girls. I just knew that.
How did you know that?
Hey, Mel, did I say I'm telling? I knew that I was going to be.
Funny, friends of mine would say that he's such a girl dad. They would say never, and I always said I wanted 2 baby girls. So you go on there.
We would go to our doctor visits, which I never missed, not one. And I remember the time that they were going to reveal. They said, "You want to reveal the sex of the baby?" I said, "I already know." And I did that for each one of. I knew it was going to be girls, Jackie. So it wasn't I didn't want a boy. I played football. I ran track. I did all the things boys do. But I knew, and it probably had a lot to do with the relationship with my mother and my grandmother. Maybe I just felt that was just what I was meant here to do because. And very good relationship with my dad as well, who always was there for me, never missed even a practice when it came to Pop Warner football. I played football from 5 to 19. So I've been blessed with nothing but support, but I always knew that I was going to have all girls. I always knew that I was either going to be that dad with them playing tennis or track. And it just so happened it was dance. They danced from 3 years old all the way even in college. So I just knew that Gary is supposed to be here to be a father to girls. Now watch, I have all grandsons.
Right. That's usually how it works. Girl dad. Okay, yeah. That's the buzz now. Girl dad.
Yeah. No, it's an awesome thing to be, but it's for me. The challenge has been, and I can speak on it, is all I've ever done was a lot to do was involvement with them. And I was jokingly telling somebody the other day, I said, well, Melanie, I was like, well, I have a little bit too much time. So, we got to develop something else, which, we're going to do. But they still need daddy. They just need daddy differently.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a lot of I don't always comment, but I be on Mel's page looking. And I see you doing hair, and said, you better go ahead and get it.
Yeah, no,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and even as a boy, I would brush my mother's hair, not knowing what I was doing, and my grandmother really taught me how to cook. My mother couldn't cook at all. I used to cook.
And I have to jump in and say, doing med school while I'm studying my hair or putting some oil through the hair. It is what it is.
Yeah. It wasn't that I didn't know what I was doing per se. I'm not a stylist. I don't know nothing about that. But I think I did some good jobs. If Mel wasn't there or I'd have to do something. Ask the girls. They'll tell you today. I used to do their hair.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as balance. Taking care of you, doing stuff together. How did you manage to work all that out? Just spending time with each other without, you got 2 girls and they're in everything. How'd you fit that in the us time?
I think, I was talking to my oldest daughter the other day, Cayla, about it. And I think, those 7 years, and going back to your original question about planning and why is that important? We did so much traveling, we used to go here, go there, whatever. And so when the focus was on our babies, we understood that this time was allocated to that. Now, when just told you, like when she had to go out of town or go to LA or go to New York, I was doing traveling as well. We would go together, even though it was a business trip, we would make it fun. We would make it more of a social trip. And then again, we had the blessing and the support of my mother and mother-in-law and godmother and father that would assist us So we had a lot of time together. And then also, when I started my company, my company is CEC Environmental. I do environmental assessments for banks, and I was blessed to have that opportunity 26 years ago and still doing it. But, I used to have a office downtown in Washington, D.C., and this made any sense. So I started working at home. And so, we could stop, the girls could be at school, and Melanie and I, we can go to lunch. We could have our lunch dates. We could have drop them off breakfast time. We would definitely make the opportunity where when it may have been a, meeting of the minds, if you will, because we're our own mastermind, if you will, just she and I, but then we would do it in a fun atmosphere. Also, I would say, being still living in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area and being Howard University graduates, a lot of our social network is still here, right? So a lot of things that are socially available, we were able to do, but it all begins with that support that Melanie just discussed. And if it weren't for that, it would have been difficult, but thank God we didn't have those challenges.
Right. And then also, Jackie, we enjoy our family life. Like, we all love to laugh. We dance around the house. We crack jokes together. We watch movies. And I think that's part of the collective. That's part of our balance too, because we enjoy being around our girls. When you talk about a family that laughs together, prays together, sings together, dances together. We cooks together. That's part of, honestly, that's a majority part of our balance, because we're all together enjoying each other, and we each get a balance from that. You know what I mean? And so, of course, me and Gary, we still do our silly stuff because we enjoy keeping a smile on each other's face. We try to say, we don't want drama in our house. If someone comes in our home and they have some drama coming along with them, guess what? They won't be back invited. You know what I mean? That's bringing the negativity in our household, because we like to bring joy, and we like when people, because we are a big social family. There's been times when, Jackie, we have events, Gary, 200 folks on average in our home or whatever. And just really enjoying life and letting other people that come into our home enjoy that same experience. So now we've kind of scaled back. We kind of do a lot more, smaller social events, and, we're really kind of, just discerning, if that's the word I want to use, on who we invite into our home moving forward. But me and Gary, we kicking it. We got the empty nesters, whatever the word they want to use. But the girls are only about a half an hour to 40 minutes away, which is a beautiful thing. And we go back and forth and get them, bring them home. They may stay a day or two or however long, and then we ship them back downtown to their apartment. So that's part of our balance. That makes us actually feel good. Honestly, I can say that's part of our self-care for ourselves, that we know that our girls are taken care of, because every day we're going to get up and get ourselves together now, because we believe in the principle of, because I've grown up with this principle: be prepared to meet your public every day. So when you get out of bed, you make your bed, you go in the bathroom, you wash your face, you brush your teeth, and you get prepared for your day. And how the good Lord sees you is how you should present yourself when you walk out of your bedroom door. And so I grew up with that principle with my mother. I never saw her off whack. Even when she was sick or whatever, or cold, she still had herself together. And so I'm blessed to have that. And I taught that to my girls. And, Gary has that same sort of concept. So you can knock on our door anytime, and guess what? We're going to be prepared to meet our public. And I think that's a very important thing to relate to your children too, so that imaging is important.
Yeah, but meeting your public doesn't necessarily mean somebody outside the house. You got to meet your public. You got to meet that person
inside your house.
Oh yeah.
Right.
My spiritual goddaughter, she always asks me, why do you always put on makeup when we just going to get coffee? We going to the restaurant. I said, because that's who I am. That's what I do. Yeah. I don't go out just looking any old kind of way. I never have. So I get it. And even if I'm working here too, I still fix up. I don't put on as much
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a computer, but you know, I'm gonna be looking decent.
As my mother said, other people have to look at you, even in your own home. You know, I'll never forget, we had house guests one New Year's Eve, and I came downstairs and I saw my daughters at the kitchen countertop with the house guest daughter. And the girl's hair were just all over. It was not even brushed down. And I said, ladies, wait a minute, we're not being ladies. We've got house guests and you're looking like this. I said, excuse me, house guest, baby girl. Daughters, I need for you to go upstairs and brush your hair down. And also, you let me know that you may not have even washed your face or brushed your teeth before you came down to the kitchen. And so the house guest mother was like, well, they're in their own home and they can't just be any kind of way. I said, hey, this is how it is. You know, you have to set certain guidelines so that then as they get older, they know how to present themselves in any form of fashion. I'm not saying they got to go upstairs and put on their ballroom gown and put on makeup and just look neat. Your father still has to look at you. He's the man of the house. Your mother has to look at you. Your house guests still have to look at you. And so I was a very firm believer in that. And guess what? To this day, our daughters, when they even are here, they walk out of their bedroom door, they're going to be together. Even if their hair is wrapped up with a cute scarf, they're going to still have it together, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And so I don't feel bad for pulling them up and saying, get your butts back on upstairs and get it together and act like you are coming out your bedroom door in a respectful fashion. That's all.
Well, you know, one of my pet peeves, and probably yours too, the new thing is the women wearing the bonnets out in the street. That just drives me crazy.
Ban bonnets outside of your house. I'm about to put a national ban. I might try to figure out something why bans are not healthy for your hair.
Something, girl. It's a mess. That just drives me crazy.
You know, I don't know what to say. Let's change over to the next subject matter.
Okay, all right. So Gary, this one's for you. Having girls, what's your biggest fear? I mean, like, you know, you got the boys are gonna be. Were you a little nervous? How did that work out?
Well, absolutely. You know, definitely that's the challenging level, and I say is, not was, because you know you want to ensure first and foremost their safety. My mother went to be with the Lord unexpectedly in 2010, and it's something still resonates with me that even as a little boy, my job was always to protect her, regardless, you know. And so now that you have little girls and they grow to be teenagers, they grow to be young women, it's still a protection element that you have. So absolutely, you are concerned, you are mindful, you're praying that they entertain young men that meet the standard that they were raised around. And that's what I've always tried to do. I try to lead by example in everything that I do. You know, I just don't try to talk the talk, I walk it. So I believe in my heart that they are doing that. And I believe that they evaluate their relationships with men based upon what they have seen their daddy do, based upon their relationship, based upon their relationship with they see me with my mother, they see me with my grandmother. More importantly, they see me with my wife. So they see that. So obviously, while it's a concern of mine, I just believe that, you know, Jackie, I do actively today everything that I can to try to be that support mechanism. And I will say this, I think for me, being an only child, one thing that my parents had to be at some point, not having a sibling, you know, my mother had to be that sister, you know. And I say that because my daughters, where they don't have a brother, you know, there are times that I have to put the big brother hat on, and we have absolute candid conversations. I mean, I'm telling you, y'all, everything you can think of, we talk about. So there's nothing that from a man perspective that they can't come to me about or that I go to them about, whether they even want to have these conversations. So I do all that to plant the seed of support for them, and hopefully they have the discernment, which they do, to ensure that they are selecting. Now I can't control though the part that's troublesome, but the reality is, you can't choose for them. And I try to get as close as I can without being too close, if you know what I mean, where whomever they select, they know who I am as well. And I don't mean that in a threatening manner. But,
yes, you do. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean it in a sense.
Yes, you do.
Well,
I know. Okay, now this is me.
I mean, but see, here's what I pray for.
What I have to say, because our oldest does have a close friend that she's been, with for some years, and so I will say that Gary makes sure that he stays connected with this young fellow. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing that he can always call him if he needs.
Yeah, I was about to say, no,
and lets him know, he's there to help him as well, to let him know, look, you're not getting too far.
Yeah, I think though, for me, when I look at my relationship with Melanie, right? I mean, when I met someone where I got to the level of marriage, not just dating, right? But when I got to the level of that part, my mother was always supportive in any relationship. She was that, to know her is to love her, where she was always right there. But also, she was a person, she could always just tell me, she'd be your best friend or your worst enemy. You decide. And I think I lived that way where, she was so close to Melanie that I pray that I'm the same way with my daughters when they decide to really settle down with somebody that they could be the son I never had. And so, when you ask me what I'm afraid of, I'm not afraid of it all. I just pray for it. That is the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, prayer is so necessary. Okay, let's talk about communications, because I think that a lot of relationships fail because they can't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree, or how do you feel about it?
I absolutely agree. I mean, I again, my parents separated when I was 9. They never got divorced. That's another whole story we could talk about.
Another show.
That's another show, right? But because it's more than love, and people need to understand that, right? They will say, well, love got to do with it. Love had a lot to do with it, but it's more than that. Mm-hmm. And communication is paramount, absolutely paramount. You have to be able to be open to have those conversations. Some conversations you don't want to engage in, you have to be ready to do that. The other side of that coin too is that, you have to be able to understand that every time that, you are needed, when you're needed, you need to be there, right? But sometimes definitely everything doesn't pan out and everything's perfect timing, but even through that timing, you still got to communicate, because you can't let that drop. You can't let it drop, whether you want to hear or not, whether you disagree or whether you agree. You have to continually engage each other, because once that stops, let me tell you something. If I'm not in her ear, somebody's going to be in her ear. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So that's what we do. We talk about everything. And when I say communication, that doesn't mean problem solving. Okay. We're just talking, we communicate over a movie we looking at or whatever it may be. It's always communication.
Yeah, because you don't want to go communicate with the wrong folks that could potentially mess up your relationship. So that's the other thing. You have to be very direct with each other and not be at fear for thinking that what you're communicating about may shut down your relationship, because what could even be worse is you go to that girlfriend that's a friend or another family member that just jacks up your whole and causes further miscommunication in your relationship. So that's one thing that I mean, we don't do, and I would suggest other people, if you have something to talk about it with your spouse, your significant other. You don't take all your business and all whatever outside of your relationship, because that can be disaster 101 and 102, 103, 104, and doom. So me and Gary, we're never short of words. We're, and we're both communicators anyway, in a broader sense, in our own businesses or whatever. So I'm like, hey, listen, G, this is what's up. This is what's on my mind, and not be afraid to communicate that with your significant other. But you for darn sure don't need to be going out asking somebody else about what's going on in your household, because you might as well just write your papers on the way out. Because they don't always have the best advice. Matter of fact, they may be telling you something because they're not happy that you are happy.
Exactly. That is true. So my last question, and I'm going to let you guys talk about anything you want to talk about. So I know I'm putting everything on Gary because 95% of our audience are women.
All right.
So I'm asking you, Melanie is a celebrity. This is known. She's been with everybody and knows everybody. Has that ever bothered you?
No. And I'm just being very transparent and candid. No, it hasn't. Because a lot of those people,
they all become friends with Gary. He's right there by my side.
This is not your time.
Yeah. I mean, and here's to her point. You know what was really interesting? Even when we went to college together and through those 4 years of undergrad, and then in '93, obviously we started dating. Even the people that she knew, people that I know, we knew together. A lot of people she didn't know, even people from Chicago, where she's from. I knew them a lot of that time. So I was never intimidated, and it was really funny. I'm not, people, you're conceited, this and that. I remember when I was young growing up, I'd be like, Mommy, why they like, no, confidence, right? They say, confidence is strength in self, but arrogance is strength in only yourself. So I've never had that level of intimidation, if you will, or I was like, oh my God, well, she knows this person, that person. No. I mean, because, through her getting to know some of these celebrities, if you will, then I got to know them as well. And so they, at meetings, we were together. We can name names on here, but I mean, I have them in my Rolodex.
They're all listed in the bio anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they have my number like I have theirs. There's interactions that occur. And so the thing is, when you see me and when I'm out there and I'm speaking or whatever, the first thing I do is edify. I edify my queen, I edify my princesses, and I edify my original queen, my mother, and my original prince, my king rather, my dad. See, I edify first, right? And she does the same thing. So if you've never met her, if you never even met her, you're gonna know her after you meet me. And so it's the same way with her. So we say, oh, two peas in a pod, I mean, it's true though. It's true in a lot of ways, because even through our business, interactions, you get to know who she is. You get to know who Gary is. So there's never been that level where I stood alone or she stood alone without the presence of us, even if it's not physically, if that makes sense. So that's kind of, I think, what has prevented me from feeling that way. I'm her biggest cheerleader. And
I know this.
I mean, really. I mean, when she was in the Chris Rock movie, with good hair, hey, nobody was jumping more than me. In fact, I was outside when she was in that 6-7 hour interview with them taping. That's how it is. And so, she does the same thing for me. So yeah, and no, I've never felt that, Jack. To answer your question and make a long story short, no, I actually haven't felt that way.
Well, that's good. I'm gonna tell you, and so recently, I'm just sharing my story. Okay. Someone asked me out, claimed that they had been eyeing me for a while. But let me tell you what the first thing he said: "You intimidate me." Well, we're not even starting off on the right foot. I'm serious, right? Right, Gary?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he tried to set the tone.
No, right? The tone was bad.
Yeah. You intimidate me. So what I would have never said that, because if I say you intimidate me, then I'm automatically lowering myself, and I'm lowering your expectation of me. And so, you know, but he may not have meant it that way. Let me not put words, you know, meanings in his mouth. You can put words in his mouth, but not meaning. I don't know.
It didn't come out right.
Maybe you really did intimidate him. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, well, okay. This is offline, but I just thought I'd put that out there because I think it's great that you all compliment each other and that, you know, you're not moved by, you know, her doing all these things with Dr. Phil and all, I can't even name them.
Yeah.
What's the guy, the rapper? I'm really forgetting. What's
50
the rapper?
Cent you talking about and every
50 Cent.
No.
And all of those. So I think that's beautiful. I really do.
Now, I was actually in the room. Dr. Phil, I was not, because I was in LA. So I was here with my babies because that was like a last minute thing. But 50 and all of them, yeah.
And this is a funny true story when Gary just said about Dr. Phil, because that was one time that he wasn't able to go and had to stay, you know, be with the girls or whatever. And because it was a last minute trip, they brought me out to be a co-host for the doctor show, right? So I get out there and they had the cars or whatever and took me to the place for the interview or whatever. And they were like, oh, we enjoy ourselves out here and you'd be great for the show. And, you know, we go out to dinner and we got Ferraris and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, you know, this all sounds wonderful, but I got a husband that I love and 2 baby girls back in Maryland. And guess what? I have my own Maserati and other cars to drive. So thank you. And Dr. Phil, he was so sweet. You know, we had a great time. Matter of fact, it ended up where he said, well, Dr. Mecca, since you're a dermatologist, I got a dermatology appointment next week. And since you're here, hey, check out my scalp, because it was just quick scalp evaluation. And this man had me coming behind his desk, looking at his scalp. It was the cutest thing ever. But they learned all about my relationship with my husband. They appreciated that. And they were excited for me to join the show. But I just had to say, look, I got my husband back home. We're not moving way out here to LA for a show that may not potentially last. And do you know, just like 2 weeks later, Time Warner actually pulled the show, but then it was like picked back up. So look at how God really intervened, because what if I was so giddy, oh, I'm so excited, and leave my husband way in Maryland and children and then flying back East Coast to West Coast. So yeah, that was the only time that Gary wasn't with me on some of these lovely interviews or whatever. But no, we definitely 2 peas in a pod, and we enjoy each other. Great, like I said, great communication. And I'm not saying everything is perfect, Jackie. That's not what we're saying. We just say because we have great communication skills, it's probably as perfect as it can be. Because if something isn't going right, we're going to talk about it so that we can fix whatever isn't right. And we also just say, look, we agree to disagree. I've got a strong personality. Gary's got a strong personality. Maybe mine is probably a little bit more stronger than his, you know, but you know, the communication is there, and we get through it. And that's I think that's the moral of the story, to talk it out.
All right. So I'm going to give Gary the floor, and then Melanie, you can have the floor. What would you like to share with our audience?
Wow. Well, you know, I think as a backdrop of everything we just talked about, sort of where I am, you know, in my life right now. And you know, from a professional perspective, obviously, we already talked about what I've been blessed to have, the success that I've been able to have. You know, we're always taught to go to school, get a good job, you know, get them grades, whatever, get that degree. And that's awesome. And I think that's an awesome thing. I've been able to do that. I've been able to work for the federal government. I've been able to have a consulting firm. I think with me right now, where I am though, Jackie, and I know where Melanie is as well, is that, you know, with my daughters, you know, matriculating out of the house and elevating and becoming who they are and will be, you know, I have to evolve now as an individual, right? And I have to sit back and redefine what success now means for Gary, because it changes. Okay, one thing's for sure is change. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now that's the one thing you can count on. But you have to now position yourself to be ready for that type of change. And for me, you know, you have to look at God's calling. I believe, quite frankly, I was straight called to impact people. I really do. You have to have the vehicle to do so. I've done that on a personal level. I've done that with my family. I've done it with friends. But now I think I'm at a position where I'm going to put myself where I want to be helping people maybe I've never met before. I think, I told, blessing's only a blessing unless you share it. There are a lot of people out there right now who are probably going to listen to this and are listening to this, and I don't know where they are in their lives, but how, some way, some word or something they may have heard today, or they will hear out of my mouth, may impact them, or something I can physically do to provide to them that can help their household, not just financially, but spiritually and physically. So that's where I am. My messaging is not going to be behind the pulpit. No disrespect to that. I just, that's not the calling that I'm speaking on, because everyone always, when you think of calling, people think of that way. No, there's so many ways of impacting people. And that's where I am right now. It may be through writing. It may be through forums such as this, Jackie. It may be through business opportunities. There are a number of things that Mel and I, we're engaged in right now when it comes to helping people. How can you earn some extra income at home? Most people, when they want to earn extra income, and the money's not everything, but I always jokingly say, but it's true, money's up there with oxygen, right? And so how can we help people bring some added value to their lives? Because Jackie, the reality is this: if you look at someone's life, and we could do the game right here and think about how many ways you spend money. I do this in front of people sometime, and I give them what's called that aha moment. They'll sit back and say, your house, your car, your insurance, your kids, you got to eat, maybe your hair, your nails, whatever it may be. Is generally speaking, Jackie, you have 12 to 13 ways money's going out. But then I ask them, how many ways money coming in? And they say one. But then we wonder why people are right now struggling financially. We wonder why people are out there trying to find another job. And respectfully, I would say sometimes a job means just over broke. So Melanie and I now are trying to figure out ways, and we've been blessed to have opportunities that we've engaged in where we can help people now earn some extra income. But here's the deal. It's not even about just income. It's about meeting people that feed you. Mm-hmm. Meeting people that feed you. Most of the people that's going to bless you and you bless them, you have yet to meet. And I'm excited about kind of where I am right now in my life, because I believe the good Lord is bringing opportunities such as this, Jackie, and I thank you, where I can now speak and say, hey, this is Gary, but this is where Gary's going. And I just hope to impact many people, many, many, many people, and we're going to have some fun doing it, Jackie. So that's the quick little explanation of Gary and where he's going.
I'm glad you got my memo to wear that purple shirt, because purple's my color.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Can you tell by the borders?
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, I am merging in there, right? I'm glad I didn't wear my Greek colors. I'm an alpha, but I mean, so I did it just for you then.
She has on the gold, but hues of purple and gold, but then
I know. I definitely know the colors, but purple is definitely my color. Eric used to call it Mom's Purple World.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay, Dr. Mel, what are you sharing?
Yes, well, listen, I'm just excited to just be back out in the world and doing things again after, as you know, having dealt with a lot of my mother's business transactions and real estate, and since she had her stroke in 2018. So I'm feeling great that I'm back to Mac. I'm getting, a lot of different media opportunities, different articles written up, and I just launched my new BellaBeau Skin Tightening Serum for his and hers, which is doing beautifully in the marketplace. People love it. After 6 weeks, I told Gary he made a complete transition around his eye area. I was like, wait a minute, you're turning back, because I call it reverse aging serum. And he was like, oh my God, Mel, I see what you're saying. And so we've had, tremendous response with that. The website, actually, BellaBeauProducts.com, just really launched on Monday. So we were able to get all of that in. Lord knows, trying to deal with the web mess and technology. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but there were certain things that I needed to be hands-on, because I have to micromanage certain things. You know what I mean? It has to be right. So they've done an excellent job with that. And just having fun with getting that new product out. And because that's my first topical. And I have to say that that's the first topical rather that I have in my BellaNutri and BeauNutri line of products. It's not the first topical I've ever done. I've done a lot for like L'Oreal and some of these other companies, but I love it. And that's when I'm having fun with adding that to the supplements, where you got the BellaNutri, BeauNutri supplement from the inside, and then the serum from the outside. So, I'm galloping away, getting that out there. And so I'm excited. And then the media's coming along, asking me about it. And some of my celebrities from the Mac, what did you put in this? I'm loving it. So I'm excited about that, Jackie.
I got mine. I got mine, right?
Yes, keep using it. Keep using it.
All right. So I think this is a question from Sylvia. The topic leading by example crosses over in so many areas of government, local and federal, community and service organizations. The key to great leadership is to embrace the culture of being a servant leader. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be first partakers in leading a group of individuals who you trust with their future, career, and livelihood? How do we as a collective of leaders train young women? Great show, ladies. And so I think that's a question, Melanie.
Yeah, you know what? I servant leaders. I love that phrase because going back, watch how Melanie, we talk about planning. I know this guy, I know it sounds like, wow, they really put it together. But you know what? We did, because we have a nonprofit as well that we started right after COVID. And it was a lot of shakiness, as you know how hard it is, Jackie, to put that together. But we're blessed to still have it, where we're really going to dive into that, even with our daughter's leadership now. And it's called the BellaBeau Foundation. And our goal for that is to really assist. And she mentioned ladies, young ladies, but also men. Okay, the BellaBeau, and we just kept that uniformity of what our product line is about. But now we're implementing it from a social perspective, where our goal is to have forums and workshops and to be that type of leadership and examples and mentorship. Our work groups that we're going to be having, our platform is going to be awesome. We're going to be bringing a lot of people to the table to assist to implement this. And our goal, end of the year goal, is to definitely have what's called the BellaBeau Ball. I'm putting it out there right now. The BellaBeau Ball, where we give as many scholarships to graduating seniors to their prospective university and colleges of acceptance. And so we can only lead by example. I mean, I love the question that she had, but you have to lead by example. However, you can't take yourself somewhere you've never been. So we want to be able to take where we have been. We want to be able to collectively bring people to the table where then we can help the youth. And because as Melanie said, my mother had a school. She's a teacher. All right. She's an educator. And that's something that's always going to resonate with me. So, our goal is to assist the youth with those type of tools and surroundings to support them. And we're going to do that with the BellaBeau Foundation.
Love that. Melanie, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, I did what Gary says. In addition, I mean, I've always believed in the power of mentorship. I've been doing mentorship for students from high school to get into college, college to get into med school to get into residency, and even after residency, what they're going to do with their career. And I've been doing that for 25 years. That is what feeds me to give back. You know what I mean? And so that makes me feel good that they don't have to give me anything for me to help to better guide them. Because if I know I've made this person successful, because even though they may have parents that are highly successful, they may not know how to communicate, or their parents may not really know how to give them the guidance if they're not in the medical field. So I have honestly enjoyed that pre-med mentorship, like I said, from high school students, college students, medical students, residents, and I look to expand that within our BellaBeau Foundation. So it's all about what each one teach one. If I have the information that's ingrained in my brain, why can't I ingrain it in someone else's brain? And that's what I enjoy doing. So yeah, and Gary does likewise. So I look forward to what's in the future for what we're going to be doing. It's very exciting.
Sylvia also says, do you partner with other organizations with the same core values?
Oh, absolutely. And that's going to be a major action item that we will be doing.
And they'll be back on here. I believe that Gary's going to have his own show if he ever decides to do so.
You planting the seed there, right there, Jackie. Yeah,
well, the seed was already planted. We just waiting on you.
But the correlation, the combined efforts with other nonprofits and just organizations in general, absolutely is key. Absolutely key. I mean, our strength comes through partnerships
and numbers.
Numbers. So yes, we're going to be seeking that out. And we're also seeking to have our organization go beyond just the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And so we'll definitely cross that bridge.
Well, I want to thank you both as always. I know Dr. Mack will be back with we got some upcoming shows with Dr. Mack and friends we're working on. She's going to bring in, I believe it's the OBGYN.
Right, we're going to be talking fibroids, yes.
Right, and some other friends that she has, because she knows a lot of people. So we're going to be coming back periodically, maybe once a month. I don't know, whatever she says.
Yeah, itinerary will be full. Because Dr. Mack is back. Remember, I was, in a hiatus, as you know, but, mom was important. So now we're ready to go full-fledged, yes.
Well, thank you both.
You're welcome.
One of the most beautiful couples that I know. And I say that from the heart. And I've always said that. But what makes you so special is that you're genuine. And, even though you have done very well in life, you haven't let that go through your head. Some people you can't even reach at your level. I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah.
They don't have time for you. We've arrived and you don't count and all of that. And you two have never been that. I remember, and Melanie, I don't know if you remember how we met. My cousin knew you from somewhere, and somebody said, you need to get Dr. Mack on your show. And I'm like, who is that? I didn't know. And so then I looked you up, and my cousin was connected with you on Facebook. I said, do you know her? She said, yeah, I got her number. And I called you, and you were like, we were on the phone like we knew each other all along. You remember that?
Yes, I do. It was a couple of hours we were on the phone. Yeah.
Yes, and we've been connected ever since. So I just thank you guys for being.
We're just people.
Real people.
Yeah, we're people. We, passionate people. We're givers, not takers. I say, I have a saying, I'll give you anything and you don't have to give me anything as long as you do right by me. I have given out free information for hair and skin, as you know, to millions, and I don't get paid for that. I've never gotten paid for that. When I go on these multimedia platforms, it's because it's in my heart. It's like the good Lord blessed me with the brain of hair and skin information to even get in the field of dermatology, to learn the expertise. And so I was like, look, I've got to share this with my people, because my people don't have the capability to have insurance or even know what a dermatologist is. And even if you got to a dermatologist, most dermatologists don't accept insurance, they're fee for service. So that's why I became that over-the-counter person to feed our people and give you some tricks of the trade so that I can tell you the common things that you can get at the drugstore without you even having to step foot in an office. So I appreciate that. So yeah, we're givers over here, and we're going to keep giving.
Yeah, you've always been, and I have to let them know that years ago, I say this every time, you're the one that talked about how the chemicals in the perms relaxers were harmful. I'm talking 14 years ago or more.
Right.
You were saying that, and now it's proven, and there's all kind of lawsuits out there.
That's right.
But you were saying that, what did you say? Grandchildren are straight hair.
Is it straight? I said, calling all moms. Is it straight hair today or grandchildren tomorrow? And I begged those mothers, take time with your child, because it's just about a patience thing where he can straighten your child's hair versus the harsh, harmful hair chemicals that's going to potentially get through their scalp and damage their whole fertility and everything. So I just say, moms, you take time for yourself. For heaven's sake, take time for your child's hair so that you are able to have future grandchildren, because I know that's every mother's dream. Yes or yes. You have a child and you wish for it to be that grandma or grandma or mima or nana or whatever. Exactly. And so that's all that I was just trying to emphasize. I know that statement may sound very harsh, but it's very real. Because then you're gonna pay attention to me when I'm saying calling all moms is a straight hair today or grandchildren tomorrow. And you're gonna stop and say, what is this woman talking about? Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. And so I can't wait for the conversation when I bring on my good buddy from Howard Medical School, who's an expert in uterine fibroids, Dr. Keith Kelly. We're just trying to coordinate the dates, Jackie. I'll get back to you on that. But that's gonna be a tremendous conversation, because a lot of folks have been hurt out there, a lot of lives that could have been saved, and the like. And like you said, there's a lot of lawsuits out here. So it'll be a very enlightening conversation.
Well, thank you again. I love you both.
Yes, we love
everybody. Share the broadcast for those who can't get it. We'll run it again anyway. But we'll be back, and Gary, I'll be talking to you about what you're going to be doing on the platform. Okay.
Absolutely.
Reel them in, Jackie. Reel them in.
Absolutely.
I'm trying. He's trying to be evasive, but I'm good at that.
Give him something extra to do so he can take his mind off of it. If our daughter says, "Hey, I want a raisin," and he running downtown to take her the raisin.
I love it.
We'll definitely talk.
All right. God bless.
Okay. Have a good night. Okay. Bye-bye.
The Black Women Empowered Directory offers excellent opportunities for networking due to several key factors. Community of like-minded individuals. See, the directory brings together a community of Black and brown women who share common goals, interests, and experiences. Networking within this community provides a unique opportunity to connect with individuals who understand and support each other's aspirations and challenges. Within our directory, you'll find Black and brown women from diverse professional backgrounds, including entrepreneurship, corporate leadership, nonprofit organizations, and more. This diversity opens up a wealth of networking opportunities, allowing members to tap into a wide range of expertise, resources, and connections. While we're open to most businesses, we focus on the underserved. Don't delay. Join the Black Women Empowered Directory today at blackwomenempowereddirectory.com.